Welcome to What the Podcast, everyone. I'm Ryan.
I'm John.
Together we are
Ryan and John.
on the couch, as always, our producers, Olivia Tafolla, Cara Philly.
Can't do it without him.
No, we could not.
That's right.
Funny to think that we started this show
Without him.
without them. Like, remember the first day? We had no idea what we were doing.
That's right.
You just showed up and you said, "Can my sister and Cara come?" And I was like, "Sure." And then
We chimed in a
Probably
little
be a
bit
disaster, but
in that
sure.
in that first show. We chimed in a
no,
little
you
bit.
did, but the part was like, in our minds, it was just gonna literally be us.
Yeah.
And then now to think back, like we're in episode 29 now, and like now I just couldn't imagine doing this show without either of you. So they're pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Love how it works out that
remember
way.
when I would sit in the computer and have to say something really loud because I didn't have a mic.
Yeah, only when we have guests. but
Yeah.
yeah. I love that.
Ryan thinks he lives in Cuba today.
Yeah, you have a real big summer outfit going on. Tell
This is
us.
my Havana outfit.
Yep.
I'm loving the vibe.
It's the hat.
It's summertime, everybody. Get
You
in
look
the
like
mood.
summer, and I look like winter because I wore a sweatshirt today.
I know. We coordinated that pretty
Yeah,
well.
I guess. We
What
did, huh?
merch is your sweatshirt? Because it says clickbait.
Don't- H3, right?
Don't make me say it out loud.
Is it Emma Chamberlain?
No.
Oh, no.
Is it?
He's been canceled.
David Dobrik.
Oh, whatever.
Clickbait. You know, I got this before he was canceled. I had no idea. And honestly, you know what? We can maybe talk about it.
Jury's still out if he's canceled,
Jury's still
right?
out
Because
on
he's
it.
still
I
out
don't think
there,
he's
like,
at-
making content, right?
Whatever. It's a cute sweatshirt.
Do you
so-
think he deserves to be canceled?
No, I don't think he does. We've talked
Okay.
about this, right?
How come? Why don't you
Okay,
think?
well, I don't think anyone deserves to be canceled.
Well, yes,
I
we've
think we
talked
get
about
to,
cancel
yeah,
culture.
Well,
we get
Awful.
to grow, we
Toxic.
get to learn, we get to,
sure.
you know.
Here's what I think.
mean, yeah, okay.
David, I think for the age that he is and the content he was creating, did the best he possibly could. I think he always asked for consent, always had it like via in a text. And the only thing they've called out on David, by the way, background, if you're just tuning in, you have no idea who David Dobrik is. YouTuber, basically got canceled because some of the members in his like filming group were accused of sexual assault, and it sounds like they actually did do what they were accused of. Now David is being held responsible
Like accountable.
because he
Well, and it's
facilitated
one
the environment.
specific event that happened actually on a shoot. Like,
Yeah, on a shoot.
That David Dobrik was
And
like a part of.
David says he doesn't know about it, blah, blah, blah. Well, I think, and what they're accusing David Dobrik of, and what he's, kind of owned up to in a lot of his apology videos is the power dynamic, which we've had this conversation off camera, I think. I don't think we've ever had it
Right.
on camera, but there's supposedly this power dynamic when you
the
get
fact
to a
that
certain
he's
level.
famous lets
Yeah.
him, like, he's enabling a bad situation, not just like a wrong, illegal situation, because he's putting women in certain positions where they're like feeling
Yeah.
vulnerable.
Yeah,
and taken advantage of.
And he
Yeah.
he did recognize that. He's like, I didn't factor in, because again, David Dobrik, really diligent young content creator back when he was in his heyday. Like he
Yeah.
would always he'd text anybody that was in the vlog and it was something about them. He'd always text them to make sure that he had their written consent in a way. Of course, it wasn't a legal document, but. And so I think he did the best that he could. Now, here's the part that sucks. Bad people will always ruin good things. Because now David's vlogs, which I've heard recently, he's not coming back with anything on YouTube.
Wow.
I know, it kind of sucks. But he now, if he ever decides to do something like his old, authentic, crazy vlogs, they won't be the same. Because
Yeah,
you can't
no.
just film. Now he has to like vet and get like legal documents
Because he's just
signed.
doing the podcast now, is that why?
Yeah, he's
or
doing
is
the
he
pod-
even doing that?
I think he wants to go further into the entertainment industry. He's did a couple
Wait, he's doing a
hosting-
podcast?
Oh yeah, he's had a podcast for a long time.
Oh, I
It's
didn't
like
know
a
that.
video podcast.
Yeah, and
know
he's
that.
doing. I don't even think he's doing that right now. He's taking a break. His last video said he's taking a break, but whatever.
I think the hard part of it all is like he was friends with the guy, and so
Yeah.
when you
went to high school with him.
Yeah, went to
He
high
grew
school
up
with the
with
guy.
him.
Grew
That's
up with
why
the guy.
I think there's a conflict of interest there. Like
That-
maybe
well, you're
David
right.
knew something about it, but I mean, and
Or-
obviously this is just speculation, but maybe he knew something about it and he didn't really want to believe it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is probably the hard part, which
Yeah.
it comes off as like, oh, he knew about it and was enabling it. Maybe he had like inklings of it and didn't want to like come to
Which it
that
could-
realization, which
yeah.
is
Think about somebody
It
you
could just
grew up
be
with and
him-
you're like that close.
Right.
And you find out that there's an accusation made. And now, to be fair, it sounds like it was legit, but accusations get made all the time that are false.
And if
it's
you're,
like,
he already has a bias for him, right?
Right.
Because it's like, well,
Yeah.
he's my friend. He would never do something like that.
it's a
Right.
tough situation.
Giving him the benefit of the doubt. I think too, like it is kind of interesting because there's like the conversation of, oh, David made like the environment toxic of like it was hard to say no to him.
Yeah.
And I think that can go both ways because I think that is true for some content creators. It's like they make it so that you have to say yes, you know, because they're powerful, whatever. Or, I mean, the flip side to that too is that it's adults that are in his videos.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
these are
And
not-
also, if you're asked to be in a however many subscriber video like he has, then you're gonna say yes for clout for yourself.
Right.
That's the thing is like
It's both.
if you're
Yeah.
an adult and you're there, you know, it's not like he's working with teenagers.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
I mean, it's not to say that they're like fully grown up, you know.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like you aren't at an age where you're as vulnerable, I would say.
Yeah.
Not I mean, I don't know if that's true for like what happened to the women, obviously.
Right,
Like I don't
of
think that's
course.
fair in that situation. But I think as far as like saying yes to David to do videos, I think on certain things, like as far as the whole Jeff thing, it's like
Yeah.
Jeff is a grown adult.
Yeah.
So for Jeff to get hurt, it's like Jeff also agreed to get onto the what is it called?
the big
Excavator.
bulldozer
Excavator.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like in that scenario, like obviously there are multiple things that
Well,
have
Jeff
been-
is like a full 10 years older.
right. Like Jeff's even older. So it's
Yeah.
like it, and I think he knows that
Well,
too.
and
I
that's-
think he's aware of the fact that like
Right.
yeah, it's really not David's fault.
I think
Like
that's a
he
different
chose.
situation a little bit. That is
Yeah.
From
way
what
more
happened with
like
Dom.
play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas this, is a little more like
I think it's a little deeper because I think David could have had a role in
Yeah.
and what happened with Dom, especially because it is his friend. So like
Yeah.
Right.
there's no way he could have been completely in the dark about it happening. So
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit sketchy for me.
I keep thinking about like, even if you know, like, yeah, this is my friend, but this is something that I've learned about them that, you know, facing that kind of hard truth
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
not, it's
Never
not
fun.
No, of course
And-
not. And to then go like, well, yeah, he should have known his friend was a piece of crap. Like, it's his dude, you know, like,
Yeah.
true.
But I mean, David was also making jokes about it. So
Sure.
he
Yeah,
had
as
to
a
have
way of-
enough awareness about it
Well, because
That's
to
what
make
I'm
a
saying.
joke about
That's
it.
what
The
I'm
whole
saying.
the whole
on it,
bit
yeah.
was like that.
He
was
like
that
the
he
guy
was
that
Ig-
supplied
ignorance
all
is
Right, yeah.
ignorance is
Yeah.
bliss, right? Like
Like he's kind
choosing
of
not to
choosing not to.
and
yeah.
that's the mistake that
Yeah.
I'm assuming he apologized for.
Yeah, I mean, I think he
Choosing to not address like
The problem
like
right
you
in
said,
front
the
of
power
him.
dynamic, the problems right in front of him,
It's-
Yeah.
because it was easier not to.
Yeah,
it's for
totally.
sure it's just hard because again, the internet has just changed. Like
Mm-hmm.
the world has changed. You know, when YouTube started, it was like you could put whatever you want up there, and it was no big deal. And your influence, like when David started, he didn't have nearly the amount of influence he has now. I mean, he hosted
Yep.
the Kids Choice Awards or something.
Right.
Like that's how huge he is now.
Yeah.
I will say YouTube got professional very quickly.
Very quickly.
Because it went from like, oh, these are just funny videos we're just going to put up and see what happens,
Mm-hmm.
to now it's like, no, these are people's livelihoods. Like now
Yeah.
you can quit your day job and become a YouTuber. It's
Yeah.
like it became like nothing to something like quick.
Yeah.
And we've seen that with every social media app. Like
It's
The
funny
rules
seeing the
change
waves
quickly.
too.
Yeah.
Because like I remember YouTube went through that where it got really big and
Yeah.
you said really corporate, and then they got really strict on their guidelines. You know, and now I feel like
Yeah.
we're seeing TikTok do the same
Become
thing.
that.
TikTok
Yeah.
got really big, huge, and now all the creators are making comments about how strict
speaking
community
of-
guidelines are.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I saw an article that said that Biden reversed the ban on TikTok that Trump enacted.
Oh, really?
I didn't think that
But
that
did he
ban
get
actually
anything
went
through?
through,
Is that good or
but I
bad?
guess in certain countries it did.
Oh, really?
But it wasn't like
He
Alright.
banned
It
it
wasn't
for other
Trump's.
countries.
Interesting.
I don't know. I saw that and I was like, what did he reverse? But there's something.
I mean, I don't know. It is what it is.
I have to
think
check out on that one.
we've
Stay
talked about
tuned.
too, like how your influence, like, your social media impact kind of gets you targeted. You know, we were just talking about the show. I bought something off of Instagram that I was fully targeted for. And I'll, you know, I wanted to talk about this. Can we talk about this for a second?
Let's talk about this.
And then we'll go to Pod Deck, I promise. Because I think I have a different perspective on it. And I want to hear what you have on this.
Go ahead.
But I think the targeting on Instagram isn't a bad thing. Because a lot of people are freaked out by it. You know, like really freaked out by like, oh, they know I said this word and all of a sudden I'm getting marketed for it, you know? I kind of like it. I'm looking for something and like, sure, your phone's listening no matter where you go. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And then you get like all these cool companies that are like marketed to me.
Apparently, sorry.
Go ahead. Oh.
Apparently, I don't think it's. I don't think that they're listening. I saw a post the other day of this guy who's like He was part of like Amazon. He was part of like information gathering, and he made a post about they don't even need to listen to you. Yeah. It's tracking your purchases and who you're sending it to
and
Amazon
your searches.
So it's all of your data that you've given away in these like terms of use policies that you just sign to use apps, and they use that information because it's more valuable than actually listening to you.
It can even track how long you look at a post.
Right.
So if you look at this, if you open up, you know, somebody's, you know, like a page, or you look at a post for more than a minute, it's like, oh, he's interested in this.
I'm the same way about it.
Whatever.
I like it. But the only thing that I don't like is that when I'm looking for something that's like good quality or anything and I get an ad, I always get like the bad like
really
like sweat factories from like China and like those kind of ads that it's like I need to
totally.
like stay away from that stuff, because I've been trying to like not put down my carbon footprint, I guess, but buy more sustainable clothing and like and things that I can keep for a long time. Where all these ads that I keep getting, I'm like, oh, that looks like good quality, and I go and it's like, cheap. Oh, it's from another country that's gonna take like months and months to ship. Yeah, and I know that it's unethical.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's the only thing that sucks, because I get them all the time.
What about you?
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
You're like me.
I put a video out recently, or a couple weeks ago maybe, but it was I got targeted with an ad for this like chili. It was like a
chili oil,
locally made chili oil, and it was like from a certain region of China, I think, and it was like Sichuan chili oil made by this one girl, like independently made, like shipped out from LA, and I was like, heck yeah, I want that. You know, of course. Ordered it. It's delicious. I'm going to buy some more. It's like, if that is because they know that I watch Hot Ones a lot, and, you know, so be it. You know,
one thing I will say, this is conspiracy.
Okay. It's probably true.
Sometimes I feel like I think about something, like I know for a fact I haven't talked about it with anybody. Yeah. Like, and I think about something, and it'll show up in my feed, and that freaks and that freaks me out, because I'm like when I've talked about it, and it's usually after we're hanging out, right? Like we'll talk about something, and then like the next couple of days I'll get marketed for it, right? Yeah, which is fine. That doesn't freak me out because we talked about it. But sometimes I feel like, and I know I sound crazy, I literally think of something, and like an hour later I get an Instagram ad to it.
Why do you think you thought of that thing? Like give an example. Like if you're like thinking about
the Switch bot that I bought, the one that I referenced. I was thinking about that. I'm in the next year. I'm moving out, and it'll be an apartment. I'm not like buying a condo or anything. Sure. And I thought like I won't be able to make my apartment smart. Okay. Because I won't be able to like change the wiring. Yeah. You know, like I'll have to use the switches that are there. I won't be able to like, because in the house I've replaced all the switches with smart switches and everything talks to each other, right? And so I remember thinking, like, I need to find a solution for when I want to make my light switches smart in the house. When I don't, and I remember again, I thought about this. I didn't talk about this to anybody, and then bam, I get marketed with SwitchBot, which is a little thing you put at the bottom of your light switch, and it turns it on for you.
And who did you get marketed by? Is it an Amazon product?
Instagram,
but it's an Amazon product.
Yeah, they sell them on Amazon. Yeah.
Okay, so
how many electronics have you bought on Amazon?
Well, think about this. I was going to say, what does Amazon? What does Amazon already know about you? Is that you've got smart devices? Alexis, and as soon as this thing came out, they're like, oh yeah, John's our target audience. Boom. Yeah. So maybe it's serendipity that you were thinking about the idea. You are an innovator, so it kind of works. You know.
I'll explain what I found as the source, and I mean, this is on Instagram. don't believe everything you hear, but I read this the other day. It says, I'm back from a week at my mom's house, and now I'm getting ads for her toothpaste brand, the brand I've been putting in my mouth for a week. We never talked about this brand or Googled it or anything like that. As a privacy tech worker, let me explain why this is happening. First of all, your social media apps are not listening to you. This is a conspiracy theory. It's been debunked over and over again. But frankly, they don't need to, because everything else you give them unthinkingly is way cheaper and way more powerful. Your apps collect a ton of data from your phone, your unique device ID, your location, your demographics. We know this. Data aggregators pay to pull in data from everywhere. When I use my discount card at the grocery store, every purchase, that's a data set for sale. They can match my my purchases to my Twitter account because I gave both these companies my email address
and your phone number.
And I agreed to all that data sharing when I accepted those terms of service and privacy policy. Here's where it gets truly nuts, though. If my phone is regularly in the same GPS location as another phone, they take note of that. They start reconstructing the web of people I'm in regular contact with. The advertisers can cross-reference my interests and browsing history and purchase history to those around me. It starts showing me different ads based on the people around me, family, friends, coworkers. It will serve me ads for things I don't want, but it knows someone I'm in regular contact with might want.
So
to subliminally get me to start a conversation about, I don't know, toothpaste. It never needed to listen to me for this. It's just comparing aggregated metadata. So he goes on and on.
Okay, so
but that's part of it too.
I don't believe the listening thing. They're definitely listening.
Okay, if you think about it critically, why would they sit and listen to you when everything you're giving them online?
No, it's an algorithm.
Yeah.
Guarantee it's picking up keywords right now. It's the same way. You know how many microphones that are connected to the internet are in this room right now?
A lot.
There's one in this TV. There's one in each of our phones.
It's like he said, you're already giving.
Girl with the name over there.
But like you're saying, they've already gotten it all on your phone, on your apps.
I think it could
so.
Be
why
both.
would they waste their time listening to you? I don't think it's worth it.
There's no waste of time, is what I'm saying. Is there is an algorithm
but what about all the time you're
Amazon.
not talking about products?
No, that's what it's always listening. It's always on.
That's what I'm saying. Is I don't know if it's worth all of that collecting. I don't think it's worth it when they're already collecting on your phone.
I think it's sifting.
Yeah, I think they're waiting for keywords.
Yeah, they're waiting for keywords. For
in the last iPhone update, when I was opening a bunch of apps, I kept getting a pop up that was like, "Oh, allow blah 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 blah," and I said no.
Yeah.
So it's called tracking.
Yep.
It's a new feature.
Yeah.
Allow apps to ask to track your activity across other companies' apps and websites. When this is off, all app tracking requests are automatically denied. So I turned it off.
Crazy.
Yeah, this is a new thing for like the iOS update.
Yeah.
You
can
track
all that.
And you've seen that commercial,
It's
right?
not very many apps,
like,
though.
It's the person in the coffee shop, and then the barista like jumps over the counter and like follows them to work. And then there's like, you've seen that, right?
No.
It's like all the people following him. It's like, who's tracking your data.
Yeah.
And then he like pressed the button and they all disappear.
I heard it's a big thing going on with Facebook too, because that's a lot about how Facebook gains their ad revenue, right? Is because they have all this data on people, and they can go to companies, or when companies come to them, they can go, oh, we know this many people are talking about this. Well, because Apple is shutting that down, they're not allowing Facebook to sneak that way into that in that sense. It's making it more apparent and more aware. And so they were kind of at war over that. I don't think it's gonna hurt Facebook or anything, because come on, it's Facebook. But
well, I mean,
I hope it does.
Those ads, that's like $1 billion.
I still
industry.
get enough ads on Facebook. I get so many.
And every stupid ad that you see is like, whatever, it's a stupid ad. But, when 1 million people see that today, 1 billion people see that today.
Yeah. You're gonna get at least one person.
Oh my gosh. At least. If you get a fraction of the people that see it to buy it, it's like, paid for it. Done.
Jeez. Speaking of ads, huh?
Speaking of ads, speaking of stuff that we're schlepping around.
Hey. That was marketed to me via Instagram too. Fine, Nick.
I wonder why.
I never talk about podcasts on my social media.
True. Poddex.com, everyone. That's the place where you can go right now. You can get any podcast question deck of cards. This particular one we're using today is called the What the Heck deck.
Oh no.
They're questions, but they're a little bit out of the ordinary. Maybe a little
crazy conversation starters.
A little offbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so anyways, go over to poddex.com. Use the code WTP. Get 10% off your order, and kick a little back to your friends over here at What the Podcast.
Love that.
This is going to be a funny one that maybe we'll answer for each other, too.
Okay.
is, do you have a signature move or quirk that people notice or comment on?
We already talked about this in the car on the way home from LA.
Yeah. Remember? Because she was saying that we sometimes, when we get passionate about things, we flare our nostrils and our eyes get really wide.
That's right.
Yeah. Tune into last week's episode to see our nostrils flaring.
For the listeners.
More you than me, apparently.
There's a Tafolla trait, but it's very strong in Ryan. Is that whenever he gets very serious or passionate about talking about something.
I never noticed this about you.
You will.
Well, now I will, yeah, of course.
It's like serious, but also like if it's a debate about something, you'll start like you won't make eye contact, and you'll flare your nostrils.
Wait, okay, that's true, but fine.
You'll flare your nostrils, like just. And what's funny is that they won't go in and out; they like stay flared for like a good 30 seconds, and then they'll stop.
Sure.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, is that that's my signature move? Wow, that's
move.
Ryan the nose guy.
No, your signature move is twirling your mustache.
Well, that's true. I do that on the show a lot.
Yes, you do.
Twirl the mustache.
So I answered that for you.
Okay, cool. All right, so show over, I guess.
Signature move, huh? Okay, I'll say this about Cara because I
do it.
And
no,
with a little bit of,
I want to know because I don't even know.
This past week we spent
a lot of
basically
time.
24 hours together. On that one day.
First of all, I loved it.
I had a great time.
It was so fun.
Yeah. And I'm anxious to hear what you've noticed about me because I'm sure I have something.
Yes.
But with Cara, and I want to say I love this about Cara because we'll be like talking about something, and Cara will cut in with a very random statement or question.
Yep.
And it's always funny because if it's a serious conversation, we'll just kind of like go right over it.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, and we'll go right back into it. But she has no fear about doing it. And that's, I love it because I wish that I had the same like kind of confidence to just be like, no, what about this? And everyone's like, what?
There's a word for this in the Philly family.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was gonna say
it's called a Cara-ism.
No, Cara-isms are different.
No, okay.
This trait is the one.
So I'm not wrong.
This trait is the one that all Phillies are very confident in what we're talking about, even though most of the time we're wrong.
Know what you're talking about.
We call that in my family, and you know who's the primary target, and this will be interesting to see if they actually watch. My parents. We call my parents instant experts.
Instant.
Like we'll talk about
experts.
something. And my mom immediately goes, yeah, this, blah, 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 blah. And we're like, that's not true. And she's like, no, it is. And we're like, there's no way you would know about that.
I feel like at least 50% of the time I'm right.
Yeah,
and they're blown out of the water.
You are correct that you
50-50.
think that 50% of the time.
Are you comfortable with that percentage?
Yeah.
Exactly.
50-50 move.
Yeah, well,
That's
because
not a
I feel
good
like most of the time, the facts that I spit out and everyone is like, what? I'll look at it and be like, yeah, right
but
here.
Then 50% of the time it's not.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's based on nothing? Are you like filling in the
It's based on the
gaps?
random facts in my head.
What's a good comparison
Sees what
for that?
sticks.
That's like
Crazy. We watched Shutter Island last week.
How dare you?
That podcast movie club is a really
No, this
love.
is that's true.
That's kind of fun, actually. We should tell them what we watch each week.
Shutter Island. It was good.
Yeah.
Give us
great
your
flick.
movie recs, and then we'll talk about them.
What did we watch?
Yeah, drop them in
We
the
didn't.
email.
We ended up talking.
Email us at
We talked about
podcast what the.
The future of what the podcast.
Drop some movie. Cara, it's with love. I love when you talk about things.
And I don't want you to. And this is why I love it because I know you're not offended. I know you're not at all, and that's why I love it because you come in and you're not hurt. But we're like, what the heck is she saying?
There's a certain point in the conversation when it's very clear you're talking to a mad woman. Like there's no.
What?
Yeah.
With the Taylor Swift conversation for sure. I've lost it.
Another thing that I like to do, it's mostly
further away from Taylor Swift. I kind of was lukewarm.
It's mostly
after I make her, I'm like,
I think you enjoy it at this point. You enjoy disliking Taylor Swift.
The controversy.
Yeah.
mostly what I do with you is that when you'll like start telling me a fact that I already know, I'll cut you off and be like, I already know that.
Yeah.
And you're like, just let me tell you.
That to me too.
Just let me tell you.
Yeah.
Jordan's like,
you know what's a really sad thing is like, you know how we're gonna get married is like sometimes
you know
I will imprint Cara onto a memory that I have, like a fun memory. Yeah. I'm like, oh, Cara, we went to this place. And she's like, I've never been to this place. I'm like, yeah, honey, we were all there. It was you, me. And then nowadays I'm realizing, I'm like, oh, it was me and my sister and like my cousin or something. Cara wasn't there.
Yes.
But I'm like,
you love her so much.
But I love her so much. In my mind, I'm like,
there.
She was there.
Literally,
like, you were there and
say,
you saw this movie with us.
Like a vacation. Or
I'm
like
Cara,
a movie.
We
I'm
were
like,
scuba diving in Hawaii. And she's like, I wasn't there. I'm like, oh, yeah, no.
Jordan does something slightly similar. And it really deflates me. And and this is what she does. And maybe you guys feel the same way about this. This could be my thing.
Okay, go ahead.
I tell a really long story.
You do?
And she'll literally, like, we'll be with friends.
Okay.
Like here sitting, hanging out, and I'll go tell the story, and then she'll go 30 seconds or less, babe. I go 30 seconds or less.
I do.
She goes, she's like, your stories are so long.
I knew.
Like, my parents go short version.
Me and Jordan,
short version.
Me and Jordan are kindred spirits. I do the same thing to Cara. I'm like, honey, okay, get to the point.
Yeah.
She's like, I was getting to it. Like,
isn't it so?
That's also a Philly thing. She'll say, like my parents will be like, whenever I tell a story or Emma tells a story, they'll be like short version,
because
please.
It hurts.
It's funny because they like to tell long stories too. Everybody does. We all like to hear ourselves talk.
I don't mind it when it's just Jordan and I.
Sure.
But when we have like friends here, and it's, I mean, granted, it's like Annie or somebody. Like, you know, it's not like strangers.
You're on a podcast. She's like, babe, wrap it up. Hey, 30 seconds or less.
She doesn't do it on a podcast. But I'm like, and now I'm self-conscious of it when I'm around her and people. And I'm like, I try and make my story short, and they feel like just join it or whatever. And I was like, Jordan, like that's the reason. That's like one of the reasons you fell in love with me. I mean, come on, like I tell a great story.
Yeah, maybe just get better at like refining them.
See, and I knew this was going to be my thing. Is it my thing? What would you say about me?
Your thing. No, I mean,
I'll take it with love.
I'm trying to get back to like a signature move. I mean, I guess these are all kind of quirks, but. You're just a hype beast, man. You're just like, you are like whatever it is.
Genuine for the record.
You're 100. I know it is, and that's why like I love it so much. You're just like whatever it is, like I'm in 100%. Okay, what are we doing? Like you lead with a yes, and I appreciate that about you.
I would say the one thing for you,
go ahead,
is that you have this nature about you where it's like as soon as somebody says you won't do it, you double down.
That's like, because it's the year of yes.
Hard.
Well, it's the year of yes.
This is not a year of yes.
You think this started last year
like,
already?
This
it's like
is
just
a Ryan thing.
Despite.
Yeah.
He's
it's
to prove
despite.
like, nah, I got this.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like we went to LA on Friday, like we said, and like you'll like you would be driving, and Cara would be like, slow down, and you're like and you start going faster, and I'm like, I don't
like people tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
So good.
No, the worst thing is when we're going somewhere and Olivia will say like, oh, we should do this. And Ryan's like,
that's what I love about you, Ryan.
What? He'll be like, let's go. When we're like running late somewhere and I'll be like, no, we have to go home and do this. And Ryan's like, okay. And then like at the street, Olivia's like, you won't. And then he'll do a hard turn. And I'll be like, we're going to be late now to whatever we're doing.
You realize every time you're playing into it.
Ryan, the year of yes has been the best thing that's ever happened to me because I can literally just say like whatever I feel like doing. And Ryan will be like, that's kind of crazy. That'd be crazy.
And she's like,
I
thought it was the year of yes.
I know he's on the border. I know he's on the border of doing it. And then I'm like, well, I guess it's not the year of yes. And then he'll do it.
Yeah. It's like that. Like, it's like a switch. And it's only when a stranger couldn't do this to you.
Sure.
Like, it's got to be it's someone in your circle.
Yeah.
Like, either these two or sometimes me when I'll be like, I don't know.
Maybe it is. It's people that like know me. If someone on the street is like, you can't do that. I'm like, whatever, like you don't know me, like who cares?
I owe you nothing. You know?
Yeah, or maybe not, or maybe I'm just a sociopath.
No,
who knows?
I love that about you. That is your what is it?
My quirk, my signature move.
That is for sure your signature move. I don't think the year of yes is going away.
No, I don't think probably ever.
It's in you.
Yeah.
Which
is good, right? I mean,
I love it.
The only thing I know that I do that someone told me is I say also instead of
also with a U.
Also. Yeah. But is there anything else that I'm like that is an ism for me?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You.
Oh.
Go ahead. No, Ryan,
No.
I want to learn.
And we've talked about this before.
I would like
is you
to
do this
see myself.
thing
Okay.
where, like, something will be a bit, like it'll be a joke, and then at some point it turns and it gets really serious. Like you're dead serious about something. Like. I don't even know what to compare to. Like, we roughhouse a lot, right?
Yeah.
We like fight and I'll like put you in a headlock or something. And then it's suddenly like, okay, stop. That's not funny anymore. Like, it'll turn so quick.
I love that.
That's it's such an Olivia move.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I mean, I have an
move?
explanation, but I don't know if it's a fair explanation.
Go ahead.
I would say I get to a point where I'm done,
Yeah.
and then I try to say that I'm done.
It's a hard stop.
And no one is listening to me because they still think it's a joke, and then that's when it gets like to a like complete
A
halt.
screeching halt.
I give a warning call. I'm like, okay, I'm done, and then nobody takes it
I
Warning
seriously.
shot.
and
Yeah.
and
Everyone's
like,
like-
and that
Yeah.
I'm done pairs nicely with my like
Exactly.
I'm gonna push it past the limit.
Yeah, and so I think that's why it becomes too serious too fast because
Yeah.
Ryan doesn't take it seriously.
Hey, leave a
Okay.
comment below. Which What the Podcast crew member are you most like?
Whoa.
Yeah, we need like a BuzzFeed quiz.
My thing for you, and it's what makes your role on the show so important,
Okay.
is you are like always looking out for anybody that we could possibly
Offend.
offend. And it's the best because you've saved us from some things being like, yeah, that was probably not cool, like, or whatever, or maybe that was a little bit on the line, you know?
Yeah.
But like, I remember there was an episode we did where I think it was you said something and it sounded like something, or no, it was something where you said something like, it sounded like I don't want to curse because I'm not breaking the swear. This
Oh, it sounded like
it sounded like a
word?
curse word.
Okay.
And you didn't notice it. And I was like, did you say that word? And you're like, maybe we should cut it out. And I was like,
But you didn't say the word. She's like, no, but if it sounded like
sounded
that.
like that, maybe we should cut it out. And that's what I love about it. He's like, and I think it comes from like you caring about like
Yeah,
all
it
types
really
of
is.
people.
It's rooted
Yeah.
in like you don't want to hurt anyone,
And you
like,
don't want us to come across in a bad way.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're
You know
always
what
the
else?
ones needing
What else that
censorship.
could be?
Yeah.
Whatever.
That could be the generation little
Gen Z?
difference with
What?
with the
hyper aware.
like social media and electronics and
Yeah.
like all that
no,
stuff.
it's just
No, it's you.
The three of us are not aware of ourselves. I think is the problem.
I'm aware.
Cara, no, you're not, honey.
I
And I'm
think
not
it's-
either. Is it like we'll just say anything and do anything?
Don't call me
Because
honey.
I think
I love you, baby.
because of cancel culture, I think I've just been more sensitive to it because I think like it doesn't represent you well enough. You know, like I get to see the full you.
Yeah, of
all
course.
three of you, and I know your intentions, and I know you'd never ever want to hurt someone.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know that you aren't, you know, at your very core, you're not racist and you're not homophobic or whatever. But I know sometimes things you say may
Thank you.
come across a certain way that were not your intention. But
now-
I'm
okay,
seeing it
now
through a
you're
different
painting a
lens.
different
No,
picture.
I know.
Like,
I know that
we're always
that
reeling
makes
us
it,
in,
like,
like-
even worse. Like I'm like filtering you guys. But what I mean by that is
Offensive.
like
Offensive was fine.
No, not even
Okay.
like I think genuinely it's not even like what you're saying.
It's what the people want to
But
hear.
it's what people hear you saying.
And connect the dots.
And it's not even as severe as something like blatantly, you know,
Yeah.
racist,
Racist
or
or
something.
homophobic.
Yes, exactly. But
Yeah.
I think sometimes there's things that you say that may even come across as insensitive, and it's not insensitive. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's funny because your brother sister relationship plays into that too, where it's
Yeah.
like and this is like both of your quirks combined.
Yeah.
It's like you double down. You're like,
Yeah.
no, we're keeping it in. Like
because
I
well,
think
and
it's
that
great.
and
Yeah.
like you said, I think that's also because of cancel culture. Because I'm sick of people like not being able to make mistakes. Like
Yeah.
people can make
Sure.
mistakes, of course. Like let's cancel people that are choosing
Yeah.
to live in evil and like put down other people. Let's cancel them.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if I say something offhand and it's because I'm uneducated or because I really like need to fill in a gap or something, like we should all learn.
I think it's interesting because I'm hoping the next stage after cancel, because cancel culture is not going to be forever. I think it's just a phase.
Sure.
But
I
I
hope
think
not.
I'm hoping after cancel culture is where we can see a genuine change of people making mistakes but actively learning.
Yeah.
Because I think for a while people were making mistakes but no one was calling them on it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't necessarily like, oh, I'm making a mistake but now I'm growing from it.
Oh,
I'm just perpetuating
No,
this.
totally.
Speaking of
problem.
that,
That's
Matt-
always the argument. What?
Matt and Rachel from The Bachelor
Uh-huh.
were spotted on a date.
Who's that?
Rachel Kirkconnell,
the ones
who went to
from the whole saga
a plantation
we had.
party. Mm-hmm.
me being like, who's that?
Yes.
We literally had a whole episode dedicated
We
to
had
them.
multiple episodes dedicated to them.
They've been seen going on a couple dates in New York.
I honestly knew that can happen.
but back to what
Anyways,
cancel culture. I think yes, it's okay for you to make mistakes.
yes, the
but-
people that that's always the argument that I hope I don't fall into is that people are like, yeah, I don't like cancel culture. You can't just say whatever you want anymore.
Right.
It's like, no, you just can't be a piece of crap anymore. Like, and
Right.
say things and get away with it is the
Right.
Key.
Comment down below if you can see Ryan's nose flaring.
Oh.
Dang.
Well, what I say about the dynamic was I love it because
You did me dirty,
Ryan
Cara.
will double down.
You did me real dirty on this
Yeah,
episode.
that was really rough.
This is
Was it on
my.
his
By the
camera
way,
whole
everyone.
time?
Not the whole time. I switched it
Yeah.
like
By
in
the
the
way,
middle.
everyone. This has been great. This is my last episode.
This-
That's
Oh,
fine.
gosh.
I'm fine
Thank
with
you.
that.
No, what I love about the dynamic between you two is because Ryan will double down, and this. I'm telling you, this happens every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
We get off air.
Yeah.
Olivia goes, this
don't
section,
feel good about
we should
that.
probably cut it out. Ryan goes, no, I feel good about it. I feel 100% we're keeping it in. And Olivia's like, and she always pulls a bit like, this is my last show. We always joke about that. Like, he made that joke like early on about
Yeah, that was a
like,
good-
I'm just not
good.
going to be a part of it,
Early
you know?
bit, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Ryan's like, no. And then Ryan will leave to go to the bathroom or whatever. Or like
about
or move
it.
the
Okay.
piano.
Take a
He'll come
breath.
back.
Yeah.
And then he'll go,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe you're right. We'll just cut it out.
Yeah.
He just had to pee
Because
the
I
whole
think
time.
it's the initial reaction, which we've talked about this, is I think Ryan has the initial reaction of like, well, that's not what I was trying to say. That's not
Yeah.
my intention behind what I was saying. And I'm like, yeah, but that's how it came across. And then he's pissed off because he's like, well, that's not fair because I wasn't saying that.
Yeah.
And so he leaves and he thinks about it. And then he's like, well, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what he was thinking about. It matters how it comes
And
across.
I think it should.
But how is someone supposed to know that?
You're right, and that comes with the medium, right? Is like we're putting things out and
Exactly.
not, and nobody's
It's not like a
watching the show.
conversation. It's
is
like
the
you're getting
problem?
canceled in a
Nobody's watching these episodes and commenting, so we'll never truly know if people.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cara. Go ahead, say it.
Truly.
Yeah, there's another
make fun of-
Cara
I make
signature
fun of
move.
his
Is
voice
sometimes
cracks.
my voice will crack, but every time Cara will point it out.
Yes, I will.
Every single time.
But
'Cause it's funny.
I think you're putting yourself out there, right?
Yeah.
You're choosing to be on a podcast.
Year of yes.
So what is stopping people from canceling you?
Yeah.
If you don't want to be canceled, don't go on a podcast.
well, I think there's
Well, like,
that's
don't
just
go
where
on
we're
social
at.
media.
That's just where we're at.
There's room. I think there's room
Okay,
though
fair.
for what Ryan's saying in the sense that if you're going to listen to the one episode that Ryan says something that may like again you don't maybe fully understand or you don't know his intention behind it, like why is he canceled for it? Like if you're a dedicated fan and you like listen to every episode, like Kat and Michael and
Shout
David
out.
and Jake
Shout out. I
and
love
shout out
we
and,
shout out
and
our
Brinley
fans every
every week.
episode.
Every
Makes me
week.
so happy.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It, like they would know because they've gotten to know Ryan over the last
Yeah.
29 episodes. They would know he's not that guy.
Maybe.
Well, but is it our responsibility to check everything we say at the door for some random
I think
bystander
there's a
that comes by?
difference. There's a difference.
There is I'm sure there's a difference.
There's a line
Yeah.
of like you crossing where it's like, yeah, this is like this came across a certain way.
Yeah.
And you may not be aware of it, but it is offensive.
It sucks the
You're
creativity
right.
out of the medium.
You
though.
are correct.
Not always. There's room for creativity. It's
Yeah.
just there's also room for not offending people.
And I know there's a line. I'm not out here every week saying offensive things, obviously,
No.
or like borderline offensive things.
Right. I
Most
just think
weeks.
sometimes too, like we've said it before, like we're not entirely educated on every topic we
Right.
talk about. So
And I guess-
sometimes like if I know something different about what you said and I have like a different perspective, I'm like, yeah, what you said is like this. These are A, B, and C. Why
Yeah.
this is kind of hurtful, or
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
you know,
Of course.
I don't know.
I
And
guess
it's like,
you're right.
and we even had, an episode, which I welcome this every time. We had an episode where we talked about J.K. Rowling, and I was like, she's crazy. She's adding stuff to her show. And Megan texted me, my brother's fiance, texted me and was like, hey, so all of the things that you were talking about were kind of isolated incidents. Yes, she was like, and she fully broke it down for me. She was like the Harry being whatever, like Hermione being a black woman, like Dumbledore being gay, like these are all, and she broke it down and fully knew what she was talking about. And then she was like, yeah, she actually does suck because she's like
Transphobic.
yeah, she's transphobic,
Yeah.
but like it's not all because she's
Connected.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good
And I
to
was
see
like,
that
yeah.
she's listening to the show.
She listened to the show
Appreciate that.
and was like, yeah.
I got a text too. I told you about the text about Taylor Swift. We had the conversation about Taylor Swift, and I was I was tearing into Cara and Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
That is okay.
I got a text from a friend, and she said, "Listen to this podcast.
This is why you should
This is why Taylor's such a dynamic performer.
Not why you should like her, but
this is why she's so
actually
great."
good.
And I think
I
it's
was
safe. I think it's safe
thanks.
to express your opinions.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to open up a conversation because then we're all in a place where we're ready to learn. So if there's something that we're unaware of, I think we're more than ready to have a conversation and say, okay, I didn't even think about that. Like, I didn't have that perspective, or I actually didn't do enough research to have this opinion. You're right. Let's move on.
And I guess that's how I want this podcast to be. Like, that's by, like you said, like, oh, like, you're subject to be canceled by putting yourself out there on the internet, which is true. But I would like to think that it's because we all want to learn and we all want to be out here and give our opinions, and it's give and take. And
totally.
I don't know.
I think we've done a good job of that so far.
Yeah.
Well, some of us more than others. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically not me, is what you're saying. Go ahead.
It keeps falling off my ears. I'm going to take the hat off.
Wow.
Is it crazy hair?
No.
Oh, you look great.
No, good for you, man. I'm happy for you.
You're going to cover your hair anyways.
Any corks?
Wow.
Any corks before we move on?
I think you're all weird people.
Yeah, I know.
I just saw that
Oh,
episode.
I learned that this last week that Cara's a huge backseat driver, especially when Ryan's driving.
Yeah. I mean, in LA too. LA kind of lends itself to backseat driving.
I kind of am too, though.
I had
honestly.
to live with him driving back and forth from LA for 2 years.
Cara, listen,
She didn't complain the whole time. 2.5 years, she didn't.
I did silently, but then now you got a new car, and I don't want you to ruin it.
the whole time.
So
We're not going down that road either.
Don't even.
Cara has this idea where she thinks that my new car is hers.
Oh,
and
my
we're just not
God.
gonna. We're just not gonna go there.
We're going to talk about that on here.
When we get married, our finances are the same, so it will be my car.
Oh my gosh.
What will you drive, Ryan?
Ryan will drive.
He'll find his own
A wagon.
He'll be taking
A
public
wagon.
transportation.
Okay, wait. Circling back to Matt James and Rachel.
Yeah.
Kirkconnell? Is that
Kirkconnell.
what it was?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot that happened behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Yes.
True.
Because the whole
I
time we
think I
were
was
talking about the
correct, by the
Bachelor
way.
thing, we were like, yeah, there's something
What?
missing.
And when
Yeah,
was,
but we
he
saw
wanted
the
to
we
love
saw
her,
the
but, like,
Yes.
was gonna
final
roast her.
episode when he was like, when she was like, I'll learn and all this stuff, and he
he's
was
like-
not accepting it.
Yes,
Because-
that was so annoying when he said that. He said, "I'm not responsible for teaching you that."
Why is that? I disagree.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Because, I disagree because it's not his responsibility to teach her.
Yeah, but
At
does he love
large.
her?
But if you love
That's
her,
not,
it is.
but I don't think that's fair.
It's not a responsibility. It's a.
Because he can love her and also not want to have to deal with the deep-seated trauma.
Yeah.
So then he never
of
loved her.
teaching her.
That's
It's not about
well,
loving. I think I think you can love someone
it
and
is.
also value your own.
I think if you say
mental
that,
health.
I think if you say that you love someone,
Wait,
but you're
did you
not
hear what
willing
I just
to
said?
To help them.
No, valuing your own mental health, that's great. But if you're not ready to like jump in the weeds and like work through things that maybe they're holding
It's
on to
not
from a
just-
past life, like I don't know, that's love.
So my whole
right?
thing
Like,
for bringing that
yeah,
up is
thank you.
because
No.
she was
Talking
kind
about
of like
this.
canceled, but then
Yeah.
now that they're like starting to like date again,
Sure.
he's like actually giving her a chance instead of like blocking her out.
That's what I mean.
I
is
think-
I
I
think
would
there's-
Save
imagine.
face
I would
back then.
imagine he
I think
would
she
want to be a
mishandled
part
the-
of. He would want to be a part of her learning and growing.
not necessarily.
he said he didn't want to.
Well, then
Well,
not
Yeah,
necessarily.
when you're on TV, we all say
I
stupid
think he was
things,
trying
right?
to. I think he was trying to save face for the show. I think
No,
there's no way he
I
could have
don't
gotten
think
out
so.
of that.
I don't think so. I think Rachel could have said some things because clearly when Matt was on and he took a long pause at the very end, he like did not. He was holding things back that he was
Yeah.
going to say on air.
Yep.
That he realized. I think that he realized would ruin her career.
Yep.
And also ruin her life.
Probably true.
And I think Rachel probably said some things that were offensive or maybe didn't handle the situation well behind the scenes. And so he was like, yeah, I'm not going to teach you because you're not willing to learn. Or
But
you
she said she
things that
was
hurt my
willing to
feeling-
learn.
So
Or,
what do you-
or she
yeah.
said things that were hurtful and wrong. And so I
Right.
think that could have been worked out. I don't know. There were things we don't
Yeah.
know
So
that
what do you
happened.
think happened from then to now? They're seen together out on a date.
Maybe
in
she
New York?
realized she was like, yeah, I was kind of putting it on for the camera and I wasn't being
It's the
genuine,
opposite.
but now I realize where I went wrong and this is what I want to do to change. Like,
I think-
I don't know. You don't
I
just
think-
learn to not. You don't just like figure
Yeah.
out to not be racist. Like
I thought her posture.
maybe
in
she
that
was
interview
insensitive.
passively. That's what I mean. Insensitive. Passively.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I think her posture in the interview. I mean, again, we don't really know what happens behind closed doors, right? I mean, that's the part that we're all guessing on. But I just feel like, first of all, I should say at large, I think the Bachelor franchise is so ridiculous. Yep. I think to fall in love in that amount of time frame with all those people is so toxic. And I don't believe anything genuine can come out of that. And that's my personal belief.
So then, why do you think that Matt loves her enough to teach her not to?
I think he should. I think he doesn't.
Because he chose her.
You just said that genuine love can't be found on The Bachelor.
But I'm saying he's saying he loves her, and then he's saying it's not my responsibility to teach her.
Right.
But that's not love.
That's a double negative, double standard.
Why not?
Because when you love someone so much, you're willing to help them in any way.
Yes. I think it's a deeper problem than that, though. It's not just about love, because we're talking about racism.
If she was like a Dixie flag toting
which she was. Like, that's what she was doing.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying, there's a line.
Why is that his responsibility?
There's a difference between her and,
it's not
a racist.
It's
a
not
KKK member.
What she did was wrong.
Yes, you're right. But I'm saying there's a difference. It's like...
So her going...
That's what we talked about this on the episode. The passive, the misunderstanding.
Right. Yeah. So I don't think it's Matt's responsibility to teach her. And I think she could have been like, I'm not going to make you teach me. Right. I'm going to teach myself.
It's not his responsibility.
Yeah.
But if she
were to go,
he could help. He shouldn't be able to help her.
Though. I don't think it's fair.
If she were to go, hey, listen, I love you, and I know, I've got stuff to work through this with me, because I don't know where to start.
I think they just gave up on each other.
It's not like she can't figure that out.
Right. It's not like he's like the librarian. It's like a partner situation. It's like, hey, we're in this together. Help me learn and be better. Not like,
I think that becomes taxing on him. I think that becomes
well, relationships are taxing.
Yeah,
no, but I think it's a lot deeper than that. Especially what happened this past year. For her to now take the stance of teach me. It's like, well, that's not my responsibility. If you don't want to teach yourself,
right,
and you don't want to fix yourself first,
there's give and take.
So
you're right.
Who's to say after the time she was on the show and was like, yeah, I want you to teach me. That shouldn't be. In my opinion, I don't think that should be her stance. I think it's her responsibility to move on and say, okay, I'm going to learn and grow and realize that my perspective, I need to unlearn things that I've been taught.
I think it can be both.
I agree, but why can't he help and aid in that?
Yeah.
Because
wouldn't you do that if you loved somebody?
No, but it's not just about love. It's also about his own mental stability and his ability to teach her. I don't think it's fair for her to put that weight on him.
Right. I think it's both.
He got to know her.
I don't think it's a random person.
But like you said, it's The Bachelor. So how well did he get to know her? He didn't know that she was racist or was a part of racist organizations.
Did things that were passively racist.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think
you said, we don't know what happened.
Realistically, they broke up because he didn't want to deal with it, and then she
kept reaching.
She had to do something to educate herself for him to come back to her,
or change her tune. Maybe she was before saying yeah, I need you to teach me, and now she's like, no, I need to be the one that's teaching myself.
No, she said that. She said that too on that interview. She said. No, because Chris Harrison's the one who asked him that question.
Canceled.
She didn't say that.
That's
Chris Harrison asked him, "Shouldn't you help her?"
I think that's why there's missing pieces to the story. I don't think we know all the information.
I know, but I'm saying based off of the information we do know.
Yeah.
Which is all we can comment on.
I'm talking about when he says he loves her, right? They said that. They both exchanged "I loved you," and based off of that information, if I was talking about. If you're taking about love, Jordan and I in love, Cara and Ryan are in love, are in love, right? But at the same time, for him to be I love you, but then at the same time be it's not my responsibility to help you, when she's literally saying she's asking can you help me understand?
Okay, but imagine you think you're in love with someone, and then you learn new information about them that changes your whole perspective on them. So then you ask yourself, am I really in love with them? Because if this is the kind of person that I thought I was in love with, maybe he liked the idea of her.
Right. Maybe.
And like we said, The Bachelor is not exactly the place to meet your soulmate.
Right.
But maybe he thought he knew her. And then he gets this earth-shattering information that is completely put him on blast of now what are you going to do? When in reality, it's not even his thing.
Which was heightened by the fact that they were on TV.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
So all of it is just blown out of proportion.
So the latest thing, I just looked up their names because I knew they were spotted.
Sure.
Over Memorial Day weekend, which was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
They're together.
It says that they were in the Hamptons. with Tyler Cameron and Camila Kendra.
So they're doing
if
great.
they're in a spot where they're able to be in a relationship, good for them. But I don't think necessarily. I don't think it's Matt James putting something on like, oh, I have to not be in a relationship with her because I'll be roasted if I am. I don't necessarily think that's true.
I think it was all of it. I think we're trying to pick it apart when in reality it's an entire beast. Like it's two people that are going through a really personal thing on television.
Yes.
And whether or not they love each other, whether or not they want to get canceled, like all of it was all in the mix. And there's Chris Harrison. Like, what do you think about this?
I think that he didn't make the wrong decision by breaking it off.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I have a hard time believing that like he says he's in love with this girl, and then the moment he finds out something is massive media coverage, he goes, "It's not my responsibility." Like distancing himself from it. You know,
how much could he possibly be in love with her though?
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on.
Enough to go back to her.
We don't. Again, it's like we don't know what we're talking about.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely interesting, and I'd love to hear like more of their journey. But I think a lot of it is very personal, and like a lot of it is behind the scenes that we don't see.
1,000%. I'm just saying like that element of it. Again, there's so much more we don't know, and that's the reality of the situation. It's like we don't know, but I'm saying like that element of like. You know, that's what I have a hard time with. This is all. And again, they're back together, so it doesn't really matter, right? That they've obviously figured it out.
The new season has kicked off.
Oh gosh,
we watched it this week.
I did too.
Hey, speaking of things that
wow,
what the heck?
Did you get that?
Do you think it was going to be a point of contention?
No, I watched it
on the show.
I went to dinner at my brother's house, and they all watch it, so I watched it. But the episode confirmed. I don't need to watch it.
Don't waste your time.
Hey, speaking of, you don't need to watch it. Did you guys see that iCarly reboot
No,
trailer?
that's where you're wrong, because I want to watch that.
It was just a
okay. Well, this is a good conversation.
It's kind of
reboots.
They're
happening.
So did you see the trailer for iCarly?
You sent it to us, and I watched it.
Did you laugh?
What did you think?
Did you cry?
You laughed.
No, I did not.
Give us your take,
smile?
John.
Did you frown?
Because I'm always curious to hear your
Just
take.
shed a tear?
You want to hear my take? I want to hear your take.
Oh, I want to hear your take first. Send it to you.
Stop fighting.
I thought it was I think it's just kind of not a good retake of it. We haven't seen any episodes, right?
Okay.
But
just
like,
based on what you've seen.
what I've seen in the
we can comment
preview,
on.
I don't like that they're just kind of like basically making the same show.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I think will be interesting. And this is something this is the reason I want to talk about this. Ned's Declassified School Survivor Guide. Do you remember that show?
Yes.
Love.
The main
fan.
actor in that, he's been trying to get a reboot of that show. And he wanted to make it, and he's pitched it on TikTok. He wants to make it like
I saw this
how to
TikTok.
survive college, how to become an adult, like all the things that you're not worried that you don't realize, because that's what the show was about in high school, is how to survive school.
Middle school.
It was kind of also like really done up, that was made it a little less realistic. But he wants to do it in like this new age, like because all these kids are becoming adults, like, that watch it, right?
Yeah.
I liked the idea of that, and so that's where if iCarly can work in a realistic element where it's like iCarly's an adult now and these are things she's learning. I just don't see it from the preview though. I just see her going back to her web show, but they're all just awkwardly older and they're just doing the same.
So I will say
bit.
I watched they released, what is it, on Paramount Plus or something? They released the opening. And the opening of like the same theme song and everything, but it's clips and it looks like it's like TikTok. It's like little squares, like they're little videos.
Yeah.
So the theory I'm running is it's like Carly needs money. She's relaunching her web show. She either that or like she is like still famous from being iCarly, and then she like makes the switch to social media. Like I'm now like an app girl. I don't know. Whatever.
You know
what I mean?
know.
Like it's just that. Like keep with the times, Carly.
There's part of it that seems like she like. Because they show
look at me, I'm an
they
app
show
girl
her
now.
like kind of in an office setting, so it's like, did she get like? I wonder if she got like picked up from something.
She's like an adult.
I don't know what it's going to be about, but I think it.
Here's
looks
my
good.
take on it. Here's my take on it. All right, that's my take.
Wow.
No, my take is this: is like, what does that mean? Well,
What
the
are we even
show was
supposed to do with
funny,
that? What are we even
and
supposed to
it
do with
seemed
that?
like they were dropping in like things that are a little more like grown up humor, like Freddy is drinking a martini or something. Which makes it cooler.
So weird.
Oh, well, Jerry
like,
Trainer, I was watching an interview, and I think it was with E! News. Oh, they all had an interview because they were like trying to get to the point of like why Jeanette McCurdy wasn't doing it. That was like the main question. But one of the ones was the lady was like, so we saw the trailer and we saw that your character Spencer says damn.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh.
Spencer said damn
In
it.
the trailer, he said damn it.
He goes, damn it. And I was like, that's what I said. This isn't going to be your grandma's iCarly.
We're not on Nickelodeon anymore.
Yeah.
Well, we are, but not.
I mean, it's like Paramount Plus stuff. And I saw that TikTok too. I'm like, I would love to watch
I think that's great.
Ned's.
And I think that's where reboots in the past have done well. I specifically, and this is my opinion, I think Fuller House, the reboot of Full House, was great. I thought it was like they're all adults. They're like, you know, they have kids now, and they're kind of reliving that with their kids, right? And I'm sure they were like sweet, like, you know, touchbacks. They're still in the same old set. I thought that was great. I just think the hard part is making that transition to feel natural, and also what's the new lens of the show.
I was gonna say, so like when starting a reboot, like what is their job? Like, are they supposed to like
Study their character again?
Yeah, well, like or any show, you know, it's like, are they like there's this Animaniacs reboot. You ever watch that cartoon?
No.
It's a great show. Wacko Warner, Yakko Warner, and little, what's her name, Dolly or something. Doesn't matter. But it's a cartoon, and that whole show was like wacky because it was like kind of for kids, kind of for adults, and they would make like political jokes and like timely jokes or whatever. And then they rebooted it recently. It's on Hulu, and it's like basically the same show, but with a new modern, like they're making fun of like President Donald Trump.
And they're kind of making fun of like themselves too.
Yeah, how it's like super meta. That they're like selling out and going to streaming. Like, so it's like, that is a great take. I like it because it's like still the same thing you love about it, but it's like adding new stuff and going, okay, like let's keep this going. But like, if the show had never stopped airing and it was still running to this day, kind of like The Simpsons. It's like The Simpsons changes every season, and it's like it's adapting to the time. That's why that show has run as long as it has, because you know, obviously it has clout now, but it's like it's changing with the times. And that show's on its way out. But
yeah,
what do you think?
I mean, yeah, I guess it's like you said, it's just like figuring out what's the angle, you know, and making it work. I just don't. I think there's also the hard part about reboots is like you're taking something that was so beloved and what people liked.
That's a problem.
And you're bringing it back in, and it's like if it's bad writing, if the set's not right, or if you don't do what the fans think. Like fans dream up what they think reboots should look like.
Almost
and
immediately.
So you're like you're automatically going against the grain of some area of the fandom. You know? And so like I used to think of The Office.
Yep.
We all love The Office.
Yeah.
I watch it all the time. I love The Office.
Yep.
But if they try to make a reboot, I'd be really skeptical because I love The Office for what it was. Yep. And just like I imagine some iCarly fans love iCarly for what it was.
Yeah.
So like to not have Jeanette, right? And to do this new form, it has a really good chance of killing the franchise or the whole thing, right?
I mean, nobody hated those Star Wars sequels more than Star Wars fans.
Yeah,
like
the only thing
crazy.
I think the only way a reboot works is if it's a different thing, because like when like the original Star Wars came out, right? And there's a trilogy, and the second one's like its own movie. It's just the same characters.
Yeah.
So reboots never work. Like when it's like Ice Age or whatever, it's just a money grab. Like it's like
I'm sorry, what?
Trying to reboot of Ice Age?
Well,
there's multiple Ice Ages.
There's lots.
There's like
are you talking
5
about
Ice
sequels?
Ages. Yeah,
Those are sequels.
Okay.
Reboots, sequels.
Yeah.
I feel like it never works because it's like, if it's good enough to be on its own, like if it has enough attention to be good, it's never going to be the same thing again. Like you're never going to like they're making like a 15th Indiana Jones movie.
Right.
That's not
with like.
Would you call that a reboot though, or a sequel?
Yes. No, it's
I would call
same thing. Like what's the difference?
I mean, when there's that much time in between.
Fuller House is a sequel, basically. It's a reboot, but it's a sequel.
But Toy Story. Okay, look, I'm going to reference Toy Story 2 because I think Toy Story 2 is one of the greatest sequels of all time.
Yes.
Like that added new stuff, but gave you what you loved about the original.
Yes, exactly.
So it's like
it's never. But like with these reboots, it's never like iCarly reboot. I love Miranda Cosgrove, but it's not iCarly. Like, we're all older now, right? Like, iCarly was great because we were kids and we loved the show.
Yep.
But we don't need another iCarly. Like,
Well,
I just want to see new stuff. Like,
I feel like
would
that
you
was
want
really
to see iBlarley? Like, would a new show similar to iCarly take its place?
No,
because
like,
iCarly kind of took the place of Drake and Josh in a lot of ways.
It did.
I saw-
It was like the predecessor to that.
Yep.
Miranda Cosgrove was in North Hollywood.
Okay.
And she was just acting in the movie.
Yeah.
I loved it because she's from iCarly, but now she's doing new stuff.
But you love her
But it
from
wasn't
iCarly.
like. But it wasn't like iCarly.
But it's her. Like, that's all I want.
Yeah.
I don't need the same cast. I don't need the same.
Well, I thought it was
show.
interesting because in that same
She
interview,
likes it. You like this, right? You like this reboot?
I'm excited for it. I think I'm going to watch it.
Tell us why.
But I'm just going to say in that interview that I saw about them like saying like, oh, Jerry Trainer, you said this. They asked Miranda Cosgrove like, oh, what makes us different? I remember them asking that. And she said that they're all playing like kind of however many years it is. She's actually putting her age because she's 28 right now.
Yeah.
She's like, Carly is 28 because I started this when I was 13.
Yeah.
She said she is 28 and it's how she's grown up. So I'm wondering if like
See, I
it's going to
think
be a
that's
different
interesting.
character.
That's not like rehashing.
I don't know if it's necessary. Like, do we need to know?
Well,
like,
I mean,
Well, is she
if
going to
you-
play 14?
Well, but like,
no,
what
I
do you
mean,
mean?
why do we need to see
I don't
Carly
think
now?
we
Does
do.
every
At all.
new movie or show have to be like a brand new thing? I mean,
No, I'm saying it only works. Like,
Yeah.
Star Wars 2. I'm just gonna say Star Wars 2.
I don't know.
Works because like Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
It works.
Yeah.
Because it's not Star Wars 1.
Right.
It's not, it's its own thing.
But like
But
a
that's a
continuation,
sequel.
but it's still a continuation.
But this reboot is trying to be iCarly.
Well, think about how many years it's been since
Yeah.
the last episode of iCarly.
I'm with you.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's
You think if they
still trying
brought
to be
back
iCarly.
Friends right now and did
Like,
more Friends,
gross.
like
Gross.
where are they now? Kind of season of Friends.
Because you
People
can't
would
help but
eat it
compare.
up. People
No,
would eat it up.
obviously they would,
They
but that
love
doesn't
it.
make it good. Like, it doesn't make it a good thing.
It's a money grab.
Right.
It's lazy.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
lazy. It's fully lazy. You agree with me
Yes,
on that?
but I think there's room to see. Okay, so now we're talking about if we talk about the Star Wars movies that came out recently. It's like the first one came out, Force Awakens came out, and it was big like blah because it was exactly like the first Star Wars. They
And
were
that's
just
why people liked
rehashing
it.
a lot of the stuff.
That's why people
That's
liked
like
it.
why some people liked it. That's
I
why
liked
a
it.
lot of people didn't like it.
You liked it.
I liked it at the time, but you go back and think
You
about
watch
it
the
critically.
originals.
And you're like, yeah, that was like a rehashing of the original Star Wars, like to a T.
Force Awakens neither here nor there for me.
So
But
then the next
second
movie
one
that
is
comes
not
out, the
Rise of Skywalker.
no, what was it?
Yeah,
The
was
Last Jedi. The Last Jedi comes out,
Oh.
and that was the biggest like backlash. Was like it's so much like the original, and so Ryan Johnson makes this movie that's like introduces a bunch of new stuff, and is like literally they say in the movie they're like Rey, you're not you're not anybody's, you're not Luke Skywalker's daughter, you're nobody, like you're just like hitting you over
A
the head
new
with the fact that like
character.
It's different.
it's different stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought he introduced a lot of cool new stuff. Like,
But it just-
But then
it's
there
like
was backlash for that too.
too much-
Like,
it's-
this isn't Star Wars enough. It's like, well, what do you want, fans?
It's too much of a good thing. Right?
What is?
Yeah.
So
Where-
they shouldn't have made any of the Star Wars movies.
I don't think so.
I think the difference
no,
between
I mean the most recent ones. I don't know if that's necessary. Like,
I mean, it brought Star Wars to a whole new generation that may not have
Yes.
loved it the same way.
So
And
that
so
is-
then they
that's
go
the
back and watch
difference.
the originals.
that's
Yeah,
the difference
well,
we
between
need a new iCarly.
okay.
I mean, we're talking about a lot of stuff here.
If you go here's a bridge between those two.
Okay,
wait.
Ice
The
Age.
difference between the iCarly and the Star Wars
why is
stuff.
that so
it
crazy
rolled
to
off your
you?
tongue so easily.
That's
Like
the
anyone's
one
ever
that
seen an
comes to
Ice Age
mind.
movie.
Okay, Shrek. There's like 5 Ice
Those
Age
are
movies.
sequels. They're not
There's like
reboots.
that's the same
Transformers.
thing. What is the difference?
So
I don't know.
so
There's a
I say that
difference.
the,
It's okay.
the new
Is there?
Star
I don't want to
Wars,
disagree with you
Okay.
anymore. We've had a lot.
the
for
new
this
Star
episode.
Wars,
New Star Wars.
Force Awakens.
Force
Okay.
Awakens.
Not the
I'm
newest.
Sean, it's okay.
I'm on your side.
I'm gonna wait.
Go ahead.
Oh,
She's gonna wait.
She
She
will
just
wait.
said the
Substitute
teacher.
teachers
she
on us,
did
yeah.
really just substitute teacher.
I'm gonna wait.
I'm writing
and I
this.
will include
I'm,
it in my note.
I'm writing this in your notes.
Your
The
teacher's
difference
gonna be very disappointed.
Between iCarly, the
Go
new reboot of iCarly,
I love
and the
this.
Force Awakens reboot
Okay.
is because the Force Awakens reboot was not written for the people who loved the original Star Wars. It was written
Yes, it
for
was.
the younger
Yes, it was.
generation.
No, it was not. No, it
I
was
think
not.
it was
Where
both.
this
It's hard to
iCarly
say.
is way written for the people
So
who
you're
grew up with
going to
iCarly.
watch Nickelodeon iCarly reboot at 25.
That's
Yeah.
not a
It's
question.
not
for
on
Cara.
Nickelodeon.
That is not the question for Cara because of course she'll watch it.
Yeah,
she
it's
loves
not on
that.
Nickelodeon. It's on Paramount
Okay.
Plus.
Oh, my
So
bad.
it's more. So it's more like a continuation.
Because wouldn't you just rather watch the old iCarly on Paramount Plus?
No,
than
because
watch
I've already
a
watched
new
it.
rebooted version of it?
Because I've already watched it.
Yes, John. Yes.
So are you? Cool?
I know what the humor is,
John,
so I'm
you love
expecting the
Iron
humor
Man.
in this
What's
new
up?
one.
You love Marvel movies.
I watch
Would
Iron
you be
Man 3
content
regularly?
Would
by
you
the
be
way.
content if they never made another Iron Man movie again?
I mean, it's different because
Or
it's a
Marvel movie,
it's
because
a-
I guess they're done with Iron Man.
Marvel's
It's a
a
movie
different
series.
beast, though.
I think it's a movie series, and movie versus TV, right? I
Okay.
think there is a difference, if I could say.
Yeah, sure.
Because I feel like movies are like in themselves their own masterpiece, right? Whereas a TV show, you wouldn't look at like one episode of a TV show and say like this is its own specific like storyline masterpiece. The TV show
I don't know,
is
Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls. What's
The
that?
TV show is yeah, that's pretty
Oh.
good. You're right.
Come on.
How dare you?
Masterpiece.
No,
where,
it's
like-
Niagara Part 1 and Part 2.
Sorry, whatever.
And this is probably
Yes.
the problem.
I don't like
Is
that show.
I don't have a lot of stake in iCarly, you know.
Sure.
But again, I'll refer to The Office because The Office is essentially the same thing. A very
Sure.
hit big TV show that happened when we were younger.
So
What about Drake and Josh?
let's ask the same
Go
question. If they made an Office, let's not call it a reboot because that insinuates a lot of
Season 8.
things. Let's say season 8 comes out.
Not good.
You're gonna watch it.
No,
You will.
you'll watch
Look,
it out of curiosity.
You
will.
will watch it.
You will.
No,
And what if it's really
God.
good? What if they introduce a whole bunch of new
Yep.
stuff? Where are Jim and Pam
That's
now?
not the vibe
Where are
I'm
their
getting
kids?
from iCarly. That is not the vibe I'm getting.
Right.
They're playing off. They literally are doing
The
callbacks
nostalgia.
to the first. Yes.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't think that's
Well, what are
good.
they
Like,
supposed to do?
I-
They're
That's
working
my
with,
point.
They're working with source
That is my
material,
point,
and
is
they're going to
it's
build off of the source
unnecessary.
material.
Here's what I'll say.
exactly.
Okay.
That's the
I don't
problem.
think-
It's to remind people who have forgotten about the
Here's what
original
I'll say.
series.
I
Just
don't
watch
think
the original.
iCarly has a big enough fan base to warrant a reboot.
Not even that. It's not even that. Even if it has a big fan base, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's
I feel
necessary.
like
Not
I feel
enough
like
substance.
people
No.
regularly
It's playing off. It's like a money
talk
grab.
about iCarly,
It's a for sure
like
maybe.
reference it.
on TikTok.
No, on everything.
Really?
Yeah,
It's good because it's
I feel like
nostalgic,
I've
not because
in the last like
more
years and years, I've heard a lot of references to iCarly and what has happened on iCarly. Same with Drake and Josh. We reference
I
Drake
rest
and
my
Josh all the
case.
time.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it comes down to preference, but I will say here I'll answer your question.
Yeah.
Season 8 of The Office. Here's the
You'd-
thing. I would
John,
watch it because
you'd
it's
love it.
available.
You'd love
but I
it.
wouldn't like it. I'm telling you, I wouldn't.
It
like
depends.
It.
Well, it depends. I mean, what is it? Is it
Yeah.
like, is it, hey, Dwight, remember when we worked at the office together? Or is it like an interesting? You can't tell me if it wasn't like an interesting story. Like
They did it on
But
Arrested
how?
Development.
Yeah.
Did you like it on Arrested
I
Development?
didn't watch the newest season.
But even when they had the time jump, didn't they
Well,
already
that's-
do
Yeah, I
that?
thought that was fine.
Time
thought
jumps
you
are
didn't like
different
it.
There
in
was-
the series.
No, you said the newest season. Not
I didn't watch
very
the newest season.
No, not the very
They
newest.
did another time jump because everyone
And you didn't like
because Michael
it.
Cera keeps getting older.
That's what I'm saying. Is you didn't like it.
No, I didn't. Yeah, it wasn't great, but not because of the like.
Just because of writing.
Here's why.
yeah,
Here's
I think
why.
just the
I
writing
know
got
why.
not as good.
It's not the original.
No,
And maybe this doesn't apply to iCarly, but I know the people in The Office.
Mm-hmm.
Like there isn't a graceful transition to a season 8.
No,
Like
exactly.
no one in that was
It's
a part of that
wrapped up.
cast would come back for something like that because
let's
they're
say
just
they
in
did.
different spots.
Let's say they did. This is a theoretical. This is a big hypothetical here.
I think
You love that. You
it
love
warrants-
The Office.
It warrants
More Office.
ruining this franchise to me. To me, it does.
I think what works for reboots,
Uh-huh.
reboots and sequels is when the original leaves it open to a sequel, like in Back to the Future 1. I think it works because I don't think it was fully well done, but I think there's more potential there.
But
when
again,
it
that's
leaves
not a
itself
reboot.
open.
I thought Back to the Future 1 was the perfect ending and nobody should touch it.
But
I
it
thought it was
ends with
perfect.
with a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So you
No,
just
it's not a
never want to
cliffhanger.
see.
It's-
yes,
it's
it is.
exactly like you said,
Our
like,
kids need help. We
yeah,
have to go help
but it's
them.
just like a funny like. They never that's the thing about that movie. They never intended
Yeah.
to watch
I think
interviews.
it lends
They
itself
never
to the
intended.
perfect sequel.
No, they literally Steven Spielberg is like Robert Zemeckis. They go, we never intended to make
Another
a Back
one.
to the Future 2. That's why Jennifer's in the car with him at the end of the movie. They're all sitting together and they fly off into the space.
It's supposed
And
to be
then
like
when
our
they
kids.
decided-
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, they decided,
What?
we're gonna make a sequel. They're like, oh crap! Like, how are we gonna make a story where?
Are you kidding me? That's like the perfect sequel prep. Like that is like the perfect. Here you go. Here's a sequel.
Look it up. I'm just saying, like Robert Zemeckis is from the horse's mouth.
whether or not it was intended, I think that lends itself better than because it's a new thing. Same with Star
it comes
Wars.
down to preference.
It's a new thing.
Really, here's the thing. I won't be watching the iCarly reboot, and I just don't. I don't think.
No, I'm not gonna watch it either. But like, I don't watch shows.
What?
I'll let you know how
Tell us how it is.
I will.
Oh my God.
No, yeah. You actually let us know.
No, don't tell us.
No.
I will. The crazy in that same interview, I watched this a lot because it was on like E! News.
Jeanette McCurdy.
They all got the call. It was Miranda Cosgrove's idea. They all got the call, except for Jeanette McCurdy. I mean, she did get the call, but she said no.
So wait, what
They
was
all
the deal?
they all jumped on it and was like, "Yes, let's do iCarly again."
Well,
they all said
but
yes.
I thought Jeanette McCurdy had like a bad experience with
She
Nickelodeon.
did.
She got
So
gaslighted,
when
I think,
Miranda
ultimately what
Cosgrove
it was.
asked her, she said, "I'm sorry, I don't feel comfortable with that now," because she's completely left acting.
Yeah.
Like completely.
I
They
think-
said that.
I think there was some gnarly stuff that went down. Like
Yeah.
specifically with Dan
But
Snyder.
they said we'll have if she ever
Schneider.
decides to come back ever, we love her. We still
course.
all hang out. Like
Yeah,
I think there's too much
more there.
surrounding the show
I
for
think
her
Jeanette
now.
like sees the writing on the wall. She's like, we don't need this reboot. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking.
True.
okay, let's get to TikToks.
Oh, wait, wow, is it that time already? Time flies when you're having fun.
Ryan and John react.
Okay.
I found a TikTok. Can we watch it?
No, it's not your job. What? No.
Oh?
It's not your job.
Okay, you're right. You're right. I'll
try.
say my lane. Say my lane. Say my lane.
John,
say
we can
my
watch your
lane.
We'll watch it after.
We'll watch it after. I'll show you after. And I'll bring one for next week. I'll prep you next week.
Look, is it show worthy, John?
I mean, I think it's funny, but you're right.
We're gonna watch it.
You're
We're
right.
gonna watch it.
No.
After Olivia's, we'll do everyone else react.
Whoa.
No, I'll do it next week.
Mini fridge. Wiping down a mini fridge.
Oh gosh, the sorting. Oh my goodness.
Just organizing the fridge. I don't like that it doesn't have music.
It's also really a really small fridge.
Oh, I don't like that.
To the brim.
The
Have you seen
container's
that
so
guy,
small.
that British guy that does these? He reacts to these. And it's always like the laundry ones, and they have to fill it to the top. And he's like, to the brim.
This is just a snack fridge.
Yeah.
Oh, those perfect bars are so good.
Yeah, they are.
Good.
Okay, no.
Little water bottles.
Oh my gosh. That's a waste of the container.
Oh, Cara,
Just so it fits in the fridge?
It's you.
No, she probably washes them out and reuses them.
I know, but it's a waste to get all those plastic containers when it already comes in a big plastic.
Do you like that or do you
Jug.
not like that?
I knew it was gonna be
I like
polarizing.
it. I like it. I like the ones for the full fridge. And,
Yeah.
like, they're doing the whole thing.
The full fridge is better.
They restock the whole fridge like perfect.
I want you to do a TikTok like that when you restock the LaCroix
The
fridge.
LaCroix. Oh my
pal.
gosh.
Done.
Thanks,
Done
pal.
and done.
Okay,
Say
here
no
we go.
more. Say
Oh,
less.
Ryan's gonna hate this.
For my love life, to see my family. I don't even have time for nothing. I'm working every single day. I'm depressed.
Oh my god.
I don't even be feeling that.
That is so
Oh
funny.
gosh.
Wait. You gotta play it again.
Oh my gosh, it's my favorite video.
I don't have any
Was
time
that
for
Nicki
my love
or
life.
Cardi B?
Yeah. Come on.
Not Nicki.
Come on. Cardi B.
Okay, ready?
I don't even have time for my love life, to see my family. I don't even have time for nothing. I'm working every single day. I'm depressed. Shouldn't even be feeling
Wow.
I'm working every
Oh
day.
my gosh, tell me you didn't
Wow.
have that thought that when you were younger.
I do hate that.
And you
I
see
hate it a
like
lot.
things moving like that, like continue.
in,
Like,
It's
oh
a Small World.
gosh,
Gosh.
how's that like possible? They never get a break.
Put your
I
hand
saw
out
this one.
in front of your child to see what they do.
Yep.
Little puppy put the face in the hand.
Yep. Cute.
Isn't that sweet?
I saw there were so many
Surprised
cute
there wasn't
dogs
one from
today.
Italy this week.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh.
At Italy.
Where's at Italy this week?
It's a good
Hey,
question.
John.
Who runs that?
Why don't you get
Italy?
set up over here? Hey, come on. Let's see that TikTok.
No, I think next week.
Next
Yeah,
week.
next
I'll bring
week,
it next
next
week.
week.
I don't know that I have the right one, and
Next
I want to show you the whole
week.
profile. But I'll bring a couple next week, and you can tell me what you think.
You better do it.
I will.
You better do it.
It's exciting.
Wow, what an episode, huh?
What
Right.
an
Yeah.
episode. What do we even talk about?
A lot. A lot.
What did we talk about? We talked about David Dobrik. That was kind of
Yeah,
off.
that was
not
kind of
scheduled.
random.
That
No,
was not
no.
scheduled.
It's because I asked about the
Also, don't
sweatshirt.
look.
Comment down below if you think. Nah, I was gonna try and come up with something funny,
Matt
and it just
and
didn't
Rachel
come.
should be together.
Yeah, well,
They are so.
Not your choice, but comment anyways. Wow.
as the world tumbles. To everyone
I don't
who
know.
watches about
Form
the
your own
podcast.
opinions.
Oh, that's our new friend.
We'll see you next week on
What the Podcast.